Thank you for joining us for this patent literacy snippet. Hello, I'm Donna Halpin from the Patent East office. Thank you for joining us for the patent snippet, a short, focused snapshot of instruction around various topics. Each snippet links back to a Patent Quick Pick webinar or longer, more detailed presentation on the same literacy topic, which you can access via our website or on the Patent YouTube channel. Please see the closing slide for a direct link to these resources. Word work activities provide opportunities for our students to practice the skills needed to become a reader. Students need multiple exposures to new words so that it connects words to memory. As our students become more proficient in the knowledge of alphabetic principle, blending, and spelling patterns, and the meaning of words, we want to focus their reading to each grapheme and corresponding phoneme in a word. There are several activities that provide practice for students. These include reading and writing lists, building words, phoneme graphing mapping, to name a few. Today's snippet will highlight word chaining. This practice uses a planned set of words that must be prepared carefully by the teacher beforehand. It supports the child's ability to recognize that words differ by one sound. The purpose of this technique is to have the students recognize the sound-symbol correspondence and provide practice in spelling, reading words by changing only one phoneme grapheme correspondence at a time. Remember, a phoneme is the smallest unit of sound. A grapheme represents a sound. For example, the phoneme S is represented by one grapheme, S. However, the phoneme K could be represented by the grapheme C, K, or CK, which has two letters. Let's look at an example. Here is an example of a word chain focusing on changing one phoneme grapheme correspondence in the initial position. Notice, even though we are changing one sound, it may involve more than one letter. Let's start with the word mop. Change the sound to P. What word would that spell? Pop. Now change the P to H. What word would that spell? Hop. Change the H to T. What word does that spell? Top. Change the initial P to sh. What word would that spell? Shop. Although we used two graphemes to make the word shop, we still only changed one sound. Carefully plan a list of words that only change by one phoneme grapheme correspondence. It's critical to planning words. One of the great things about chaining is that you can use a variety of materials. Some examples are whiteboards, magnetic letters, foam letters, and letter beads. Let's look at another example. Again, notice how only one sound is changed and how carefully a list of words would need to be pre-planned. The word is pin. Let's tap the sounds in pin. P, n. Now let's write the sounds and spell pin. Now make pin, pen. What sound changed? Let's tap pen and find out. The middle sound changed from a I in pin to E in pen. Spell pen. Now make 10. Change pen to 10. What sound changed? Let's tap 10 and find out. T, The first sound changed from a P in pen to t in 10. Spell 10. Now look at my 10 and check your work. Now make 10 tin. What sound changed? Let's tap and find out. T, The middle sound changed from a in 10 to in tin. Spell tin. Now let's make tin bin. What sound changed? Let's tap bin to find out. The first sound changed from t in tin to b in bin. Spell bin. Finally, make bin to win. What sound would change? Let's tap win to find out. The first changed from b in bin to w in win, and now spell win. This example worked on medial short sounds and also the initial sound in some words. Since it focuses on some medial vowel change, it is a more advanced word chain. When working with word change, the contrast is easier when the sound symbol change is made to the initial letter, as in sit, pit, lit. It becomes a little harder when changing the ending sound. For example, lip, limb, lib. And finally, it becomes more challenging when we ask the student to change the medial sound. Pim, pam, pom. You'll want to focus your word chaining work to align with the skills that you're teaching, and also be aware of the scope and sequence that moves from the easiest to most difficult contrasts. Here's an example of a possible scope and sequence starting with initial sounds where contrast would be easier to hear. Then moving to sounds in the final position, which is more difficult, and then move to the most difficult, planning chains with contrasting sounds in the medial position. A consideration to keep in mind when the graphemes that represent sounds are digraphs or combinations for vowels. This makes encoding a bit more difficult. Again, align your chaining work with your teaching. As you introduce connected text to your students, choose words from your text to build your word chain. This is a decodable text from the West Virginia Phonics. It provides practice for reading words with the short E sound. When planning your phonics lesson, choose from a variety of activities to build word practice, such as word chaining routine that was shared today for building skills in fluency of word reading. For a more thorough, detailed discussion on the topic, go to Patten's website at patten.net, as well as the Patten YouTube channel, where you can view literacy-related podcasts and quick picks. Thank you for joining us.